Aaron, you are a sports anchor, reporter for KSHB 41, the NBC affiliate in Kansas City. First off, how's the trip? How's everything going?
Man, this is starting to become, I've been joking with like other people, like there's 5 seasons in Kansas City. Obviously spring, summer, fall, winter, and then there's Super Bowl season. 4th time in the last 5 years that KC has been doing this. I covered the game last year in Arizona, so got my feet wet a little bit. The trip was good. We avoided some bad weather in Denver, so I got in Saturday afternoon. And it's been a week before we've even gotten to the game. It's been fun, man. I've been having fun.
It's crazy that you describe it as a fit season because it legit has been that. You can already pencil in that the team's going to be playing into late January, most of the time into early February. So how does your station kind of divvy up the responsibility as far as coverage? Because at that point, sports is becoming news. You're not waiting to the C and D block to talk about the game.
Yeah, and we are home of the Chiefs. We have a partnership with them, so we try to blow out our coverage as much as possible. As far as splitting up the coverage, you know, this year was a little different, Like, we're used to, in Kansas City, having home games this time of year. You had to go on the road for Kansas City this year.
Baltimore and Buffalo,
So the only home game this year, of course, was the coldest game in the history of Arrowhead Stadium, that Super Wildcard Weekend game against the Miami Dolphins. Negative 27-degree wind chill at kickoff. Terrible. I mean, I hated it. It was the worst game experience I've ever had. Cool to be there, cool to be a part of it. I was there for that. My coworker Mackenzie Nelson then followed the team to Buffalo, which is where a lot of people thought the road may end for Kansas City. You know, first time Patrick Mahomes had to go on the road in his playoff career. They checked that box, and then I followed the Chiefs to Baltimore. And that was a really cool trip as well, cool environment. First time in franchise history that they hosted that game. During that time, we're having 30-minute specials every day. Our sports anchor is, our sports director is anchoring those shows that were titled Road to Vegas. And it's funny enough, we ended up on a flight to Vegas, and here we are breaking down Super Bowl 58.
It's crazy. The Chiefs, they've had consistent success, but there's something about this year that it seems like they got it done, but in a different way. How do you feel about that?
I would have to agree. Like, I think a lot of nationally, it's like it's not a surprise that the Chiefs are in the Super Bowl because they've been in the Super Bowl so often, but I think the surprise is more so these Chiefs being in the Super Bowl, considering how rocky it's looked at times, especially with the wide receiver room and like the offense not finding their footing and Patrick Mahomes looking extremely frustrated. I mean, if you think back a couple points, right? The Raiders game on Christmas, like, that was the last time the Chiefs lost and how ugly it looked and giving up the 2 scores, it didn't look right. And then nationally, there was a lot of attention on them after the Buffalo game where Kadarius Toney lines up offsides and wipes away one of the greatest plays in NFL history, the lateral with him and Travis Kelce, and the emotion after that game. I had real doubts on whether or not they would actually make it, but Andy Reid, you can't say enough about his process, how he's been optimistic through it all, kind of galvanized this group specifically to get the best out of them, and they truly are playing their best ball. I mean, that Baltimore game on the back of the Buffalo game, those are probably 2 of the most impressive wins for any team in the league this year. So I think they're extremely confident and excited going into this matchup against the Niners.
From the outside, most of us are just watching the games, watching interviews, watching analysis on these networks to get an idea of how Kansas City has been this season. But you've been at training camp, you've been at the practices. Are the wide receiver issues as bad as they've been portrayed throughout the year?
That's a great question. I think now they've reached a point to where the synergy has finally come complete. And there's a lot of different factors that went into the wide receiver room not looking the way it's looked in years past. Overall, offense is down league-wide, so we got to take that into account in general. Teams are scoring less across all of the teams, not just the Chiefs. Then you factor in Matt Nagy's in the mix now instead of Eric Bieniemy, and you factor in Rashee Rice, who was a rookie draft pick, kind of getting his feet wet and his ascension in the offense. Patrick Mahomes having to trust the wideouts in that situation. Like, everybody, and I've said this on multiple platforms, it's a pie when you're talking about the Chiefs offense. And I think everybody kind of shared a slice of what was going wrong early in the year. There was a point in time where they lost 4 of their last 6, and they're kind of searching, going back to like the drawing board on what was going wrong and how they could figure things out. I think now, as we're looking ahead to a Super Bowl matchup, they've figured out who their playmakers are. It's Rashee Rice, Isaiah Pacheco, and Travis Kelce. And everybody else just has to make a play when their number is called. And so far that's worked in the postseason. We'll see if it works again against the Niners.
The Raider game that you spoke about on Christmas, it's safe to say that's when fans were like, uh-oh. We may not be able to defend the crown, but what was the game that kind of got you back on the wagon that you think made fans more confident that this team could reach the point that they're at now?
Buffalo?
The playoff game.
Maybe so Baltimore.
So it came late, pretty much.
It came very late. And I think the team would maybe say Week 18. Week 18 this year was very unique for Kansas City because they were locked into the 3 seed.
Yeah.
Couldn't move up, couldn't move down. No matter what happened to that game, they were stuck at 3. So a lot of the backups came in, a lot of the depth guys came in, and the starters are sitting on the sideline watching the rest of the team compete, the rest of the team be hungry, the rest of the guys prove that, hey, there is some of that chemistry starting to come together. And I think Dave Tobe, special teams coordinator, mentioned that Week 18 game as kind of a galvanizing point for KC to say, all right, all that other stuff that happened before this, it's water under the bridge. We're going into our second season now where we actually make our money. Let's put it all together. Let's put our best foot forward. And they've done exactly that against some really stiff competition.
Kansas City, San Francisco, second time they're meeting in a Super Bowl in 5 years. What's your early gauge on the matchup?
Man, I think this game comes down to the Niners offense led by Brock Purdy against the Chiefs defense. The Chiefs defense is the reason why they're in this game, Yao. I mean, they've given up less than 14 points on average through this playoff run, and we're talking about against Miami, Buffalo, and Baltimore.
Yes, sir.
The 3 teams in top point differential league-wide, it's going to have to be another strong defensive effort for Kansas City to hoist another Lombardi trophy. And I think after what they did to Lamar Jackson and that dynamic offense in Baltimore with a shot at this game on the line, they're licking their chops thinking about a Brock Purdy who's never been in this spot before. Even the young guys on Kansas City's defense have played in the Super Bowl before. I'm thinking about a Trent McDuffie. I'm thinking about a L'Jarius Sneed. Those are guys who have played in big moments, know what the emotion of this game is going to bring, what the jitters and how to settle in. That's the matchup that decides it for me. Now, Kansas City's offense, they can go a long time without scoring. I mean, they were shut out in the second half of that AFC title game. Didn't make a difference. But because that defense has played so well, their synergy and their connectivity with Steve Spagnuolo, that's where I think the money is made. Can Brock Purdy prove that he can do it against this Chiefs defense, which I think could possibly go down as one of the greatest defenses of all time?
And before we let you go, I'm not going to ask you for a prediction because you are covering the game, but for you, how rewarding has it been covering what is really the next dynasty in the NFL?
It's awesome, man. And now I know we're in the thick of it and we're running around doing media stuff, and it can be stressful in the moment, but take a treetop view and you look at it. I've been in KC. My first day was April 20th of 2020. So since I've been there, all I've known is Super Bowls.
All
and
you've
AFC.
known is winning.
All I've known is covering these type of games, and it's been extremely rewarding. I'm very thankful to be close with the team, have relationships with some of the guys on the team, and you called it the next dynasty. I'm already there with this team because
and rightfully so.
6 straight AFC title games. That alone, I know we measure Lombardis, and that's kind of the thing that matters. But we're gonna look back in 10 years and say Mahomes, who's not even 30 yet, dominated this era. His floor is the AFC title game. I think if they do finally cement it with another title here, it goes from dynasty question mark to dynasty exclamation point.
And finally, we are WRHU. We are a college radio station. So can you look into the camera and give your best advice for aspiring broadcasters?
Best advice for aspiring broadcasters. Well, I was in your spot once. I'm only 27 now, so I'm not that far away from where y'all once were. The game has changed since I came out. So what my best advice would be now is just do everything. Do podcasting, do radio, do TV, do print writing, do magazine writing, do whatever you can. Don't say no to an opportunity. Reach out to people similarly like you did on this week. Shoot your shot. The worst thing that somebody can say is no, but you have to try and create these kind of tentacles is what I like to call them if you're an octopus, because you can't just do one thing in this business anymore. You can't just say, oh, I'm a TV talent and that's all I do. You have to make yourself as versatile as possible because that allows you to be as dynamic as possible, and a lot of different jobs will look out for you. So if you're listening to this, you're on the right spot, man. Definitely. You're plugged in, man.
KSHB 41, sports anchor, reporter. It is the home of the Chiefs, and yet again, he's covering the Super Bowl. Aaron Laad. Aaron, thank you so much for taking the time.
Of course, man. Appreciate you. Anytime.